Hi, everyone, and welcome to Ask the Expert. I am your host, Dr. Shirlene Reeves, and we do this on Fridays. And I can't begin to tell you how fun this is for me because my guest on this show, as I tell you every week, is from the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground. It's a Facebook group that we have, and it's all heavy hitters, and they're all doing business even though we're going through a difficult, challenging time. And that's why I love to bring them to you. So today, we are going to talk about how to make our parents feel loved and wanted, even when we can't be with them. We're having such a hard time with not being able to be with family at a time, especially if when we're at the holidays or whatever we're trying to do, and we can't be a part of our parents' lives. And all of you know and are experiencing that, I'm sure. So we're going to have a great conversation about what to do. So hang in there, and I'll be right back after this. And welcome back. Thank you for hanging in there for me. As I said, we are going to talk about what we can do to make our parents feel that we care about them, that they're wanted in our lives. And we have so many difficult times with in-laws, right? In-laws and aunts and uncles, they all have something to say about every little thing. And some families are more difficult than others when it comes to this. But then there are those who are living alone. They no longer have a partner. They're very, very lonely at this point, and they would love to hear from you. So think about it. What if you went to the post office day after day and there was nothing there? It probably happens a lot now because we do most everything on the internet. We don't really take the time to send out a special card or do anything to acknowledge that we really care about somebody. Even on birthdays, we get these Jackie Lawson cards or something like that. But have you noticed that when you get something in the mail, it feels very, very special? And that's what we're going to talk about today. My guest today is Trudy Triner, and I just adore her because she has such a beautiful story that I know she's going to share with you. And she's a trainer and a coach and a mentor to literally thousands of people on 3 continents. And she helps people be more effective in their work and in their lives. And Trudy's goal is to bring joy into the lives of not only her own family, but also other wonderful women and men of the greatest generation. So what we want to do and what we're going to talk about is show you how to build strong relationships with the important people in your life that will enrich both your lives. And so let me introduce you to the one magic question that has helped people of all ages for loving, trusting, and fulfilling relationships. Let me welcome Trudy Triner. Hi, Trudy. Thanks so much for being with me today.
Hi, Dr. Shirlene. It's delightful to see you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. So talk to us a little bit. I know you have a fabulous book, and I'd like you to talk to us a little bit about how we can make that connection. You know, sometimes the elder generation is a bit crotchety too. So I don't know where to begin with it. Talk to us about what we can do.
Well, if I might, I'd like to start at the beginning and tell you the story that actually led to my book and that has truly changed lives for the last decade. That'd be all right?
Oh, I'd love to hear that. And I'm sure the audience would love to hear it too.
Great. So a few years ago, I attended a conference. I was the director of leadership development for patient care services for a large healthcare organization. And as part of my job, I often attended leadership development seminars. So in this particular seminar, the instructor said we should always be asking for feedback in our lives. We should be asking people who are really important to us one magic question. And he said, you should ask this question: what could I do to be a better, whatever it happened to be? It could be a better friend, it could be a better teammate, it could be a better boss, it could be a better neighbor. And he said, think about asking all of the important people in your life what you could do to be a better, whatever your relationship is with that person. So, being a good corporate citizen, I went back to my company and I asked my team what I could do to be a better manager. And I asked my manager what I could do to be a better employee. And I just asked all of the people that one simple question. And I got some really interesting answers. So then I decided to expand it and take it home. So I asked my teenage son what I could do to be a better mother, and he gave me a couple of interesting ideas. Now, the problem I ran into right here, though, was I asked my husband what I could do to be a better wife, and he said, "Oh, I am not going there." The man is no fool, right? But the real payoff and the thing that made the real difference to me was I decided that I would ask my mother that question. Now, my mom lived in Arkansas in a little, actually, log house that she and my stepfather had built when they retired and moved to Arkansas from Chicago. He had passed away, and she now lived in this one bedroom, probably 650 square feet, little house. It was perfect for her. She had a little dog named Amber, and her nearest neighbor was about a mile away, and she lived 12 miles outside town. So she spent most of her time actually alone. So when I went to visit that particular year, and I would only visit my mom 2 or 3 times a year if I happened to be on a business trip, or once, always I had a scheduled summer visit. So this summer, when I went to see my mom, I said, I'm going to ask her. I'm going to ask her what I could do to be a better daughter. Now, I want to tell you that I would have bet $1,000 that when I asked her that question, she would have said, oh, nothing, honey, you're perfect in every way. Because, that's just how mothers are, right? That's just how mothers are. And she and I were very close. We had a wonderful relationship for our entire lives. And so I would not have been surprised if that's what she'd said. But at the time, we were actually just sort of relaxing and chatting about, life and my husband and her friends. And then there was just a little pause in the conversation. And I thought, this is the moment. So I said, Mom, I've just been wondering, what could I do to be a better daughter? And then I just shut up. Because I really thought she would say, as I said, nothing. You're perfect in every way. But I was lucky that day. I was really lucky because she just said, well, honey, when I walked to the mailbox, and it was about maybe a quarter of a mile, she lived in a house back from the road, and she had to walk all the way out to the road, and it was a gravel road, and open her big mailbox, the kind you see in the country that stand on a post and you pull the box open. She said, when I walk all the way out to the mailbox and there's nothing there, it just feels kind of sad. So if you could just send me a little more mail, that would be great. And I'll tell you, when she said that to me, my heart hurt because I could just see her face when she opened that box. And there was really nothing in there. And then she'd probably say to her dog, well, Amber, she was just probably busy. Maybe we'll get something tomorrow. And they would walk back to the house. Oh, I almost want to cry when I tell you the story. And so I never wanted that to happen again. I just didn't want that to happen again. And I knew that there was something I could do about it. And I felt so lucky because there was something I could do about that. There was a mailbox right outside the building where my office was back in San Francisco. I walked past it twice a day. How easy would that be for me to drop something in the mailbox for her? And so from the moment I left her house until she passed away 2.5 years later, I would send her 3 or 4 things a week in the mail and maybe more just to make her smile. Now, this didn't have to be a card. It didn't have a hallmark on it. It didn't have to be a letter. I didn't have to take the time to sit down and decide what to write to her. It might have been a package of flower seeds because, they're flat and they fit right in an envelope and off they go. It might have been a restaurant menu where I'd circle what I had had for lunch and say, this was really delicious. Wish you were here. Or one time I sent a bus transfer that said, I'm on my way to Macy's. I need a new dress. I wish you were with me to buy it. I just threw it in an envelope and off it went. And one of the secrets to this was I would always have stamps in my glove compartment, in my car, and in my purse. And I had a stack of envelopes that were already addressed, and some of them were already stamped. So if I came across anything at all during the day, I just slip it in there, drop it in the mailbox, and off it would go. And that one simple little thing just made so much difference to her. So we did it, as I mentioned, for 2.5 years. And when she went to the hospital, from which she never returned, there was still one unopened package in her mail basket by her chair, and it was things that I'd collected from Liberace's house in Las Vegas because she was always a big Liberace fan. She used to say, "He's just the most handsome man." So that's how it started, and we called it our Make Mom Happy by Mail campaign. And she assured me time and time and time again that it really did make her happy. But of course, that was my mom, and that's what she wanted. So, as Dr. Shirley mentioned, it may not be what everybody wants, but everybody wants to be considered. Everybody wants to be thought about. And frankly, I believe that everybody wants to be asked what you could do to make their life better. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. It just is that one magic little question that gives them the permission to say whatever it is they would like to tell you, and you can just say, thank you. Now, the one caveat is sometimes people have told me that when they ask that question, their mother asked for something that they knew wasn't possible. One of my very good friends, who's in her probably mid-40s and unmarried, she said, what could I do to be a better daughter? And her mother said, get married and have a baby.
Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know?
Not helpful. Not helpful.
Not helpful at all.
Not helpful. But most people have heard something that they actually could do. And they will often say, I had no idea she wanted that. I had no idea that would make her happy. So my first book was called Make Mom Happy by Mail. May I, Dr. Shirley?
Please do. I love this cover. Isn't it amazing?
And this is my mom at her mailbox. And one day when I was there visiting, we just walked out to the mailbox and I said, would you mind if I just take a picture of you at the mailbox? I might have some use for it in the future. And it became the cover of book number 1. And there are over 200 examples of things that I sent her that she took out of this mailbox in this book. But
did she ever get to see your book? Did she ever get a chance to read it?
Yes, she did. She did. And she loved it, and my sister loved it, and my aunt loved it, and my cousin, who was like a second aunt, loved it. And I had started actually with a newspaper article because when I was telling one of my friends the story, they said, you really should submit this to the local newspaper. So I submitted it on a Wednesday and they published it the following Monday. And then somebody said, put it in a book. So that's how it happened.
So what that does is it gives people ideas for what they could do if they need to send somebody things in the mail to make them feel like, you're thinking of them. We used to do Christmas cards and things. We don't even do that anymore.
Yeah, and that's really it, Dr. Shirlene. It's really that statement that says, "Oh, somebody thought enough about me to take a moment to put something in this envelope and to get it to me." And that's what it says. It says, "I'm thinking of you." A very wise person said the other day, I'm going to come back to that thought. I was just reading a very interesting book in which an older woman said, my family thinks of me as an ornament to take out at Christmas and birthdays. And that's when they invite me over. Other than that, they think I'm getting along just fine and they leave me alone. And I thought, isn't that true? Isn't that how we treat many times our older relatives?
Yeah, that's exactly what I've got, is that situation where I'm invited to birthdays and I'm invited to holidays, but the rest of the time I don't even hear from them. And if they ask me what they could do, my son particularly, to be a better son, I'd say, call me once a week or touch base with me once a week, or let me know you care about me or that you even know I exist, because I never hear from them.
Exactly. And a call would be so easy. A call would be so easy. And many people actually have had that exact experience, and their mother has said, call me. So I touched base with an old friend recently, and she said, I've just been thinking about you because I asked my mother what I could do, and she said, call me on your way to work. And this person, who is the CEO of a big hospital, said, I am really busy, but I can take that 5 minutes every morning on my way to work and call. And I used to do the same thing with my mother, and she would often say, you made my whole day. But I would also say that there's something special about a letter. There's something, especially for older people. It's not the same with millennials, and it's not the same with baby boomers. But with older people, when they get that letter, they see your handwriting. They know you've touched the paper. They can read it over and over and over again. They can show it to their friends and say, oh, look what I got from Alice, and maybe here's a picture of my grandchildren. So they keep those letters and they read them again and again and again. So while I'm not saying write letters all the time, I'm just saying that for people from the greatest generation, letters have a much more significant meaning than they do for us. But don't we all look first at something that has a handwritten address on it?
Absolutely. And that's why whenever I send anything out by mail, I make sure it is handwritten. That's really, really important, because that just kind of shares your flair, right? I mean, it just kind of gives people a feeling, and it comes from the heart. That's the really important thing, is that it comes from the heart. And you're right, they do read it over and over, and they'll tape it to their mirror or something like that. It's very, very important. But like you said, baby boomers aren't so much that way. They're more about receiving a phone call, I think. And then the generations beyond that are all about texting. And boy, there's nothing more impersonal than texting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, here's another interesting thing that happened when somebody asked a younger person what they could do to be better. Now, this was one of my friends who was a mother-in-law, and she said she just didn't have a very good relationship with her daughter-in-law. And so she decided she would ask that one magic question. And so she said to the daughter-in-law, what could I do to be a better mother-in-law? And the daughter-in-law said, oh, thank you for asking. If you would just phone and let me know when you're going to stop by, as opposed to just popping in, it would make all the difference to me. Now you can see that that would be something that it would be difficult for a daughter-in-law to say to a mother-in-law. But since the mother-in-law gave her permission to do it, she did it.
She's lucky she didn't say, don't come at all. When you open yourself up to your mother-in-law, you never know what you're going to get. I remember those days.
Well, it's very interesting you say that, Shirlene, because one chapter in my book is entitled "What's Nerve Got to Do with It?" Because one of my friends said, "That's fine for you because you have a great relationship with your mother, but how about those of us who don't like our mother or don't have a very good relationship with us? What would you think about that situation?" And so this particular friend, and this is really a true story, my friend Julie said, "My mother just complains all the time, and it's no fun to talk to her because she just complains. Why haven't you called me? I don't feel well, da 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 da." So she said, "I am just going to give this a shot." And she said, so I just started mailing her little things every now and again. And she said, our conversations changed. She said, we started talking about the things that I sent her in the mail, and she would ask me questions about, who was that person who was on the left of the picture? Or where were you when you took this picture? Or how did you know that I really liked strawberry rhubarb pie and you sent me that recipe? And she said, our conversations were brighter, they were easier, they were happier. And she said, it changed her. And she said, Trudy, if you ever go on Oprah, I'm going to be the first one to say this works.
There you go.
Yeah. And she didn't even ask her mother. She just decided she was going to give it a shot.
Wow. So if people want to get your book, what do you suggest that they do? How do they reach out to you?
Actually, I would be delighted to send people a book directly if they would just send me a request to do so. And I'll put a little invoice in the package. And if you want to pay it, that'll be great. And if you don't, I'll consider it my gift to the universe.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, when my mother was dying, I had a few blessed hours with her. And I said to her, your legacy to the world will be that you asked me that question. And I'm going to spread that word far and wide, because if it changed our lives for the better, it will probably change other people's lives for the better too.
And sure enough, that's exactly what you're doing, is putting together courses and all kinds of things that people can do that are fun to answer that question. But I think first you have to go ask that question, right?
You have to be brave enough to ask the question. And when you get the answer, you have to say thank you.
Is that all you say?
I think that's all you say. And then you can do what you want to do. And if you're going to do it, do it. And if you're not going to do it, you're not going to do it. But say thank you for the feedback, because, feedback is a gift.
Yes.
There's a wonderful quote from a poem by Robert Burns that I always love. And it's, would some gift the gods gie us to see ourselves as others see us. And when somebody is giving you feedback, they really are giving you that gift of knowing what you look like to them and what you can do. Because, there are two kinds of feedback. There's feedback to reinforce behavior and feedback to change behavior. And what you're asking for here is feedback to change behavior in such a way that they're going to tell you what you could do without focusing on any of the mistakes or things you haven't done in the past. So we're more likely to take it as advice or suggestions or help, as opposed to criticism. But the phrasing of the question, what could I do to be better, is very different than, what have I done in the past that you would like me not to do again?
I don't want to do that one. What can I do in the past that you don't want me to do again? Oh, that's not a good one at all.
Or where did I let you down? Or what do you wish had been different? No, none of that stuff. We're only talking about the future here, not the past.
Well, Trudy, show us your book again, would you? And I love this book. I love the cover. I love that you have your mom on it. And this gives you a whole lot of ideas for what you could do to maybe make your mom happy. Who knows? And it doesn't, it could be a mom of any age to ask that question. And she may not say, oh, I want things in the mail, but she might say, stop by once in a while, or bring the kids so that we could have lunch together or something like that. But I think that phone call is a really big thing too. It doesn't have to be a long one, does it?
Not at all. Not at all. If it's 2 minutes, if it's 3 minutes, if you say, I just got a second, I just wanted to say hi, how's everything going? That's what a mother wants. I'm a mother. I know that's what I would like.
I would
That's,
too.
yeah. What I don't like are texts, because texts are 2 or 3 words in general.
Yeah.
For my son, at least, they're 2 or 3 words.
Or it could just be a check mark.
Yeah. When I ask him, when I say, is it all right if I do such and such a thing? And if he agrees, he'll do 2 Ks. Okay, which means okay in text language.
And we can't even do okay. Just
And we can't even do okay, right? Just okay.
gotta wonder, right? Gotta wonder.
Gotta love them no matter what, right? Gotta love them.
I know.
But I think the bottom line, and what I'd really love to leave people with, is just think about elder relatives or neighbors or friends that you would like to have a better relationship with, that you would like to make happy. Because remember, the title of my book is Make Mom Happy by Mail. Make Mom Happy by Mail. And every person that you make happy is a wonderful, positive stone that you've cast into the pool of the universe that will ripple out and ripple out and ripple out and ripple out, just like my mom's did.
And you know how I love that.
So thank you, Dr. Shirlene, for giving me an opportunity to pass that along.
Well, Trudy, I'm so glad that you've been here with us and you've given us your insight. And I really appreciate that you cared enough about your mom to ask that question. And I want to thank you for being here with me today.
My pleasure. And I was very lucky to have such a wonderful mom.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
thanks,
I
Dr.
can tell. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed that today. Think about someone who is maybe alone or someone who just really needs some support, and ask them, what can I do better to be a better mom, a better daughter, a better grandma, whatever it is? Ask what you could do better. And you know, I really like what Trudy said, even about grandchildren, because grandchildren love to get mail when they're younger too, because they're always running to the mailbox and they don't get anything unless it's like Halloween or Valentine's Day or something like that. So it might be fun just to do that same kind of thing for grandchildren. I love what Trudy was sharing with us, and I think it's a fabulous idea. And I hope you think about it too, because it will really make a difference in your life as well as the person that you are honoring. So everybody, thank you for being with me today. I hope you will join the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground. It is for authors and speakers and anyone who supports them. And as I said, we have a wonderful group there, and we have a free business mastermind on Thursdays that we'd love for you to participate in. And don't forget to please like our video if you like what Trudy had to say to you. And join my channel. Oh my gosh, it so helps us grow when you subscribe to the channel. But thanks for being with us today. I so appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you again next Friday. Bye-bye.